Hi, and welcome back to Beyond the Monsters. Today I have Marie Pizano. Did I say that right?
Yeah.
Pizano, without the accent. You have the cool accent.
Paisano, yeah.
She is going to share a whole lot of, just all the amazing things she's doing right now. And we'll go from there.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
All right, welcome.
Thank you.
Yes, I'm so excited to hear. I briefly heard some of these things you're doing, girl, and lots of stuff. So start
Yeah.
wherever you want. Like if you want to even tell a little bit of your history and how this all came about.
Well, I guess I could start from moving from Chicago and coming to Memphis, Tennessee. That
Okay.
was a culture shock.
I bet.
I mean, just being honest,
Right.
and at the time the Grizzlies weren't there yet. It was kind of like a ghost town downtown Memphis, but when you come from Chicago and traveling elsewhere,
Right.
you don't realize it was a home of Elvis. So I thought, wow, this would be really cool. But it
Right.
was really different for me.
Okay.
And trying to fit in to that, I guess it's almost like stepping into a Southern Desperate Housewives.
Okay.
I mean, in
That's
all
fair.
honesty,
Yeah. Yeah.
and um, I was the youngest in where we lived on a golf course, TPC golf course, and um, people just very nosy and very into my business, and I wasn't used to all that.
Right.
Very overwhelming. As my now ex-husband climbed the ladder, in business, things got really stressful and our marriage crumbled.
Okay.
Lots of yelling, lots of, things that were not healthy.
Okay.
And we had kids, and I had to make a decision. Um, when you go through a high conflict divorce, you're dealing with many monsters.
For sure. For sure.
Yeah, and so I learned um some hard lessons, let's just say some hard, but a lot of deep truths and strength out of that. And I wrote a book called From Barefoot to Stilettos. It's not for sissies. That's the first one.
I love it.
So, From Barefoot to Stilettos is we all come in this world barefoot.
Hmm.
We all stumble and fall, but we have the power to rise tall in our stilettos or rise tall and
Right.
go find our yes.
Hmm.
So, that was a voice. That was me coming out. And it was a little scary because when you get married young and you're kind of controlled, or this remember like Archie Bunker,
Yeah.
and Edith,
Yeah.
kind of I was not used to that, but I got molded into that,
Right.
and being this trophy wife and having to do everything he says and having men around that condone that. Do you know what I
Right.
mean? That
Right.
culture.
Yes.
And here we are. Well, at the time it was 1999. I know, 19. But again, I felt like I was coming into a time warp, or,
Right.
because in Chicago, I come from a strong mom, but
Okay.
I didn't realize what domestic violence really was. I didn't
Hmm.
get beat, or I didn't get, but
Right.
people don't realize what emotional and financial abuse is.
Hmm.
And I'm seeing it a lot now more than ever, which is so crazy to me because we're
Yeah.
2025.
Right.
And back in the 70s, 1970s, I watched my mother. She married um, a man that literally beat her, and she fought back. But she ended up
Mm.
starting a nonprofit organization called Child Find for missing and abused children. She started a chapter. So I got to learn a lot when I was younger.
Right.
But when you see things, you still have a little trauma,
Sure.
they're called ACEs, adverse childhood experiences.
Right.
And I guess, I have to say, like I was telling your husband when we were talking out there, y- people that come into your life and they create this hurt, hurt people hurt people. We
Mhm.
all know that.
Right.
But I don't like that. I like, you know what? We need not to enable that
Yes.
anymore. We need to empower, no more victimhood,
Right.
but it is really almost like thank you to them in a
Mhm.
way because I'm who I am because of
Because
it.
of it.
It
Right.
didn't define me, but it molded me.
Right.
I chose not chose. You have a choice. I
Mhm.
chose not to repeat it. Not
Mhm.
to I chose not to hate. It was really hard.
Good old
Forgiveness is
generational
yeah,
trauma and yes.
and forgiveness is really a hard thing sometimes.
Mhm.
It's easier said than done.
Right.
But if you work at it, it's all of like a programming. You got
Right.
to
I
keep
agree.
telling, yourself. And what we really don't realize when you're in that heat of anger and hate and,
Mhm.
because you want to fight back,
Right.
and they're really good at that. Like creating, and you feel crazy
Right.
and people don't understand, then they think you're the problem
Right.
because they're so good at looking like
Manipulating and
wonderful to the
yes.
rest of the world, and it's so hurtful.
Right.
And you have what they call, and I'm sure you heard it, the clinical term flying monkeys.
Mhm.
So when you have all of them against you, the one thing of being a parent, though, it's watching your children and that time robbed.
Mhm.
And it's me trying to help my children also, my shortcomings, saying I'm sorry,
Right.
but also hopefully one day they're going to realize even more. Mom was going through some traumatic stuff,
Right.
and we all did. It wasn't fair to any of us.
Mhm.
And that's what I'm hoping one day that they'll understand. I have to say sorry
Mhm.
because some of the things that I might have not noticed, I mean,
Right.
when you're under so much stress, you're not neglecting your children, but you're not there. You know what
Yeah,
I
because
mean?
when we're going through stuff like that, it comes down to, you're just
Right.
doing what you can,
And you're
what you're
triggered.
able to do. Yeah.
Yeah, and like certain things, and if they speak like the person and you don't know how to handle that
Right.
yet, and that's our first time being parents
Right.
too and going through something like that.
Mhm.
I said, a lot of times we have to forgive. It's not what's wrong with us, it's what's happened, but I still think even in the rage of things, and I mean, I had to face yelling, a lot of yelling, and I used to think that it was kind of normal because coming from, Latin,
Yeah.
Italian, Polish,
Yeah.
you just, but this was different, and people don't realize they could look at you and be like, I, c- how can you,
Right.
you're so strong or whatever.
Why would you ever put up with that? I can't
Yeah,
see that.
but
Yeah.
you don't understand. It's like this passive aggressive, this
Mhm.
it's gaslighting
And you
is
get
what
sucked
it is
in.
so like, and you feel crazy and then you start thinking it's your fault.
Right.
And then when you're told you're stupid, you're told constantly,
And then
and
it's your
then you
fault
have
and
all the flying monkeys and all the
mhm.
parents around and in the South, and
Right.
how dare you? And I
Mhm.
remember one time I felt so alone. And but I was with a group of women and they found out I was getting a divorce. Marie, I don't understand what you're doing. And I'm
Right.
like, why not suck it up and get a Mercedes? The
Right.
I'm like, I'm living in desperate house. I mean,
Yeah.
literally. And one of them literally said, I like my manicures and my pedicures, and if I gotta blow them once in a while, so be it. I was like, "Holy shit."
You're like, "Girl, just go get a job."
I and I'm like,
Oh gosh.
but it hit me, like,
Yeah,
this is what I'm dealing with. I I didn't have anybody on my side.
right.
You know what I mean? And you're not cool. You're the outsider. Dealing with the other parents and them listening. They pick sides, right?
Mhm.
And they're all in these clicks, phonies, and all that baloney.
Right.
And I'm the rebel. I'm the one that wants to heal from my family. They don't understand what's going on, but they see me as the evil one. And then when you
Yep.
get these family lawyers, I'm begging, can you help me help my family thrive?
Right.
This was more of a cry for help. You can't make anybody do anything. And when they're angry, he saw it as probably what do you call it? Like, when somebody goes against you, like they're in the heat of stress and failing you.
The ex was thinking
Yeah,
is,
like,
um,
so
shoot.
like,
Got any ideas?
like it's more of like you're turning on them,
Okay. Yeah.
and really, no, you didn't. I understand you're going through something, but
Right.
abusing that.
Right.
And when you're so angry and stressed, and I started making excuses for it because I saw the family dynamic,
Yeah.
mother, what happened to him as a child,
Right.
and my parents were really, nobody's parents or anybody is perfect, but
Right.
my mom and dad had more of a grasp on things. In my family, when I started looking at it, aunts and uncles, and wow, they went through trauma, alcoholism,
Mhm.
drug abuse,
Right.
things like that. And I would always be like, as a child, I would tell my dad, remember when I was 13, I said, Dad, if they're older than me, they should be acting that way,
Right.
and I go, that's my biggest pet peeve, when someone's older, and he goes,
Right.
Marie, it doesn't work that way.
Mhm.
Some people are not as strong,
Right.
and so that's why I always thought I was strong. I mean, I had a strong mother. I mean, if you were messing with her kids, boom, she
Right.
told you.
Right.
And sometimes it was not cringing, but it was more like, mom, you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
But when I look back now, like, wow, what a mom I had.
Right.
And she just passed away last year, so I'm not
Oh.
gonna, but it was, she took care of foster kids. She took care of, so many
Oh.
people. I
Yeah.
can't believe I'm gonna cry,
No, it's
but,
okay.
um,
There's
but
tissue. There's tissue right there if
yeah,
you need
no,
one.
no, I'm okay. But it's more of because I miss her.
Yeah.
And like, wow, when I look at it, and again, when I was 13 years old, Chicago Tribune asked her why she started Child Fine. And she went back remembering, her past. She was
Right.
sexually abused by a family friend.
Okay.
Um, she said, there's two roads you could take. You could play victim or do something about it. She said, I picked up my panties and I did something about it. And I was like, what, mom? Like, but
Right.
then later
You
as
didn't
an adult,
realize
I'm like,
how powerful
that
that
is,
was.
yeah,
Yeah.
kick butt,
Yes.
and I was like, I understand. And
Mhm.
my dad's advice that really sticks to me is right before I got married, or right before they opened those doors and I was about to walk down, and my dad goes, kid, um the only advice I could give you, what works for me is not going to work for you. It's not all about love, it's what you could handle. Doors open, I look down there, I'm like
Oh.
thinking it's going to probably be a roller coaster, but I could handle it.
Right.
But I don't know. I know it sounds really weird, but I wouldn't change it.
Right.
I wouldn't probably change it because I loved him.
Mhm.
I was, that was, you know,
Right.
and whatever reason I aligned, I had healing to do myself.
Mhm.
Um, we can only show up how we want to be.
Right.
He had a choice too. I still look back at how do you destroy a family?
Mhm.
But anger, pride, greed,
Oh, yeah.
all of that. It shouldn't have happened. But you have the dynamic of others, the flying monkeys, and you have people in your ear.
Mhm.
And, and the one thing I'm mostly disappointed in is you should break those cycles.
Right.
You have a choice. And it was really hard with all the yelling coming to my house when the divorce, and I didn't know how to handle it. I didn't have really many
The
resources at that
tools,
time.
yeah.
So that's why I decided I waited, I like 5 years after divorce and everything, I was more concerned about my kids. I wanted them to see what a healthy relationship looked like. I
Mhm.
thought I could find a man to put them in,
Right.
in a better, so they could just have something solid.
Stable and
While I
normal
was
and
trying to be friends with the ex, and invite him still for Christmas, everything like that. And
would he was he inappropriate, like, in his
yes and no. It was
behavior?
like Jekyll and Hyde, so it's
Mm.
kinda really hard in it's almost like the love bombing, and then,
Right.
again, nobody in their right mind is that angry and that wanna get at you and tear you down. I
Mhm.
never was like that.
Right.
Never.
Well, I know you had said that you would make excuses for him
Yeah,
and stuff, so it's like
always.
you kinda
And
started
to even
becoming an
today, when I'm
enabler.
talking, because I know one day my kids might see this, or even neighbors or whatever,
Right.
because I'm really not a hateful person. Um, and that is still my kid's father.
Right.
And that was somebody I once loved.
Mhm.
And you look at that, and I don't want to do that to my kids.
Right.
My story had to come out. They have to
Mhm.
understand I have to
Right.
tell my truth.
And that part's for you.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it was my truth. Three sides to every
Oh,
story.
yeah.
My side, my story, my truth, but most of all, my forgiveness.
Mhm.
And truth shall set you free. He might have another side to it, but you know
Mhm.
what? I lived this side, and I'm
Right.
pretty rational. I'm
Mhm.
pretty, but
Yeah.
always being called crazy or,
You start to believe it. That's
yeah,
somebody you loved and adored, I'm sure, at one time, and for them to say those things, you start thinking,
yeah.
"Am I?
And
Is it
so,
my
and
fault?"
seeing my children and that
Yeah.
angriness with I already knew that we're going to have to break these cycles. And one time it was the heat of the divorce, and I got a phone call from him. I mean, he hated me, during that. I mean, we were at war with these family lawyers. I even had a private detective on me. Ugh, let me just tell you, I found out, and okay. Stupid attorneys. Okay, so I wasn't doing anything, but
Right.
but anyway, that's dangerous though for these people to do stuff like
Mhm.
that. And I looked it up. He had a pedophile degree. Yeah, like pedophile degree. Yes,
Charge.
charge. And because I wanted to find out what the hell somebody watching, that's invading. But I
Right.
mean, you know what? I always said from the beginning, no piece of paper, marriage anyway. If I wanted to cheat, I would go cheat.
Right.
I told him right before this was a cry for help. I am this close to having an affair, but there was nobody specific. I was just saying, save this marriage,
Right. Right.
and he was going through a lot of stress at work and
Did that not
everything.
phase him,
I
really, when you
no.
would say those kind of
That's
things?
when I got the divorce, when I told the attorney, when I went in with my $5,000, and I told her, I don't want you to serve. I want to go in to go tell him. I went to his job, and when I told him, He looked at his computer, he looked at his briefcase. Later, I'll explain that. And when he did that, he goes, "You couldn't tell me this over the phone?" Boom. I was like, "How? What?"
Like you wanted him to show some kind of
Something, but
love,
nope, it was
compassion,
war. It
something.
was down out
Wow.
war. And I had to have our nanny. I hate calling her nanny. She was a family member, but she had to come to the house, and I said, "Just be there." And because he was so angry and I didn't know what, he never hit me or anything, but
Right.
that anger is, I remember getting picked on so much at one point, and my kids shouldn't have seen this. The caretaker nanny, did. And I just remember going in the back hall, getting a bottle of water, and he kept nagging at me, and I never even realized what was going on. I took that water, boom. He went like that. Oh, and I thought I was going to get it then. And my son was right there, and I was, and my
I'm not
nanny,
laughing, but I'm laughing.
right.
Just
No, but the nanny was like, "Yes," because she
she'd been
saw.
hearing it.
Yeah, and one
Yeah.
day she told him, she goes, "Doesn't she look pretty? Because I tried date nights and everything." And he goes, "That's what she's got her, friends for or whatever." And that shocked her, and I kept making excuses that was just for, and he would say, "Take a joke, I take you." These are things that are hurtful.
Was
And
there a big shift somewhere, like in the
no,
marriage
it
where
always was like that in a
okay.
way. And but when he got stressed, that's when the monster, I guess
Yeah,
you could
yeah.
say, comes out. And I guess we all have monsters,
Sure.
but I'm not that person that would do that to somebody,
Right.
especially someone I cared about. But if you learned his history, I have a chapter in my book called Monster in Law.
Really.
And I even feel sorry, bipolar is a real thing.
Mhm.
Um, I I still, though, deep in my heart, it's like you have a choice.
Mhm.
You could, or is this, I not to be bizarre, but like spiritually,
Mhm.
it's almost like a demon. It's like an evil. When you're
Right.
that angry
Right.
and you're using other people, like family lawyers, how in the heck, who in their right mind, they're sold on this the war of the roses, and
Mhm.
who in their right mind helps somebody go after? I told my
Destroy
attorney,
someone, right?
"I don't want you to do that. I don't want you. I want to heal my family." But it was this
They were
war.
coming
But
at
going
you.
back, I know we jumped on forward on something. It was the heat of the divorce, and he got he I thought he was having a heart attack. He called, and I didn't understand. I took the kids to my next door neighbor, who they hated me too, but I'm like, these neighbors. And I went to his apartment. While I was driving there, and I'll be very honest, I was like almost in that movie with Rocky, if he dies, he dies,
Right.
like because I was so angry, you know what I mean? Or like I was so exhausted, I couldn't take this anymore.
Right.
But when I turned that wheel, to turn it to go, to the apartment complex, I started crying. I said, "God, my kids need a father. If I'm supposed to get a divorce, if I'm supposed to whatever, I will do whatever I can to heal this family." I
Right.
don't think I've ever told anybody that. I think I might have wrote something like that in the
Mhm.
book. I got there. He was on his side. I thought he was literally having a heart attack. We got to the hospital, found out massive kidney stones. Well, this big man down on ground. So I really thought, something was really
Real
wrong.
bad, yeah.
Well, while I was there, um, they gave him this, it was called Dilaudid,
Mhm.
and he had a severe allergic reaction, and
Oh,
his all of a sudden on the table, he went back, and like he was turning colors, and I saw the monitor, and I was like, running out to go get the nurses and
right.
everything, and they weren't coming quick enough. I took a cold rag. I said, I was praying over him.
Mhm.
And I was like,
Did he feel like he was
Greg,
choking?
uh,
Was it
I don't
anaphylactic
know
shock?
what it was. He was almost flatlining, is what I looked at it,
Wow.
and um that was a very scary moment, and I was just saying out loud, Greg, I'm here. Do not go.
Right, right.
And they rushed in, and what it was allergic reaction.
Yeah.
So maybe that's what it was, but I was thinking he was
Right,
dying,
sure.
and so when I was out in the family room, I had during that time was a BlackBerry and another phone and
Mm,
everything, and I was just like, something just told me open it up. And normally I never do that.
mhm.
And so I opened up and I was still feeling guilty, right? Looked at him like, call my attorney, and she's like, well, I don't know if you. I'm like, no, get this, and then I took him home that night, because he needed care. And the next day, he just turned into a monster again, like, back war with the attorneys. And I was like, I really thought maybe at that moment that something could change.
Right.
Um, but it didn't.
You had a little hope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I still had hope along the way that someone could change. But it's sad when you have
Yeah.
that family, but the deeper the aces, the deeper, um, and people could say maybe you weren't meant to be or whatever. But when you give that oath to God and
Right.
that promise, I take that seriously.
Right.
And they say death do you part. Oh my God, yeah. I
Right.
just and even my kids now, no matter what, I recently saw him, my daughter's birthday, and you know,
It's been how long since now?
from the divorce, I mean, we've still talked. The kids turned 18, and
Okay.
then, and he moved away, but I tried to keep some type of peace, even though, because I didn't know how to manage that,
Right.
and what is always confusing to me is these lawyers and everyone tells you, do not talk bad about the other parent.
Mhm.
How do I not teach my kids this is not good behavior?
Right.
And I'm yelling back because I got to stick up for myself.
Mhm.
Because am I supposed to be a doormat?
Right.
So it's very confusing to kids, to us, to
Right.
how do you not explain that this is not good behavior?
Right.
And
It's
I
not good
have
to
to
be a
even,
doormat or to yell
yeah.
back.
And
So,
then my
yeah, it's
kids
tough.
like, Mom, you're the problem too. Well, again, how do you explain that? Because yeah, I am the problem because I'm yelling right
Yeah.
back
You're
and
like, "But I didn't
saying,
start it."
yeah.
Yeah.
But, you play this blame game, and then at the end of the day, sh- at the end of the day, this is what I chose. How do I blame?
Right.
I'm in this, and I got to figure it out. And so it's really like almost like when you go through things like that, almost like what they call what is that? The deep night of the soul or dark night of the soul.
Oh, I haven't heard of that one.
Yeah, it's the
Yeah.
dark night of the soul. And you go through all this, it's like an awakening for
Mhm.
you. And whether it's spiritually or whatever, but you're just in this heat. I ended up having panic attacks. I had panic attacks. I thought I was going crazy.
Right.
But you don't realize when you're living with someone on that you feel like you're on eggshells. Like again, one day it's normal, could be a
You
normal
don't
for a
know what,
week
yeah,
and,
then you don't know what you're gonna
yeah,
get. Yeah.
and it's really so your body starts breaking down.
Right?
People think you're crazy. Like, no, this is, but again, when you're facing certain traumas, and I could go back to I was in a motorcycle accident when I was 18, almost lost my leg, 200 and something stitches, shape of a T. Morgan Freeman calls it T for tough. So I thought that was pretty cool,
That is.
and, but when you have these traumas, you don't realize, like, that can infect you.
Right.
And, like, did that contribute to triggering him and both our traumas? Do you
Right.
see what
Because
I
you were still
mean?
carrying it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah.
Or not only that, but having panic attacks and not, understanding, or everybody thinking you're crazy when
Mhm.
no,
And
and
it's
when
the
I
unknown
finally,
and you're tiptoeing constantly. I
yeah,
mean, that's a lot to deal with. It's
it
a lot on your
is
nervous system.
very much so.
Yeah.
And it starts breaking, you
Mhm.
down. So writing my story was like, it was a first step of,
Like I
even
can
if people
breathe.
got mad, you know, I was like, I have to do it for me. Maybe one
Mhm.
day they'll understand, but you know what? I'm a mom, but why am I always the punching bag?
Right.
Why are we always the punching bags? We're
Mhm.
supposed to do this, we're supposed to do that, and if you don't, the kids, and they use the kids as pawns and weapons against you. I
Yeah.
mean, holy camole.
Right.
I'm I'm I am shocked when I look back. Like, some people will be like, like the haters or whoever, or
Right.
even people
Yeah.
like with no empathy whatsoever, like
Mhm.
whatever. You deserved it,
Yeah.
and no, I didn't.
Right.
And so
They have no clue.
no, and so that's why I wanted to write my book, and I tell my kids, we got to break these cycles, and I'm not perfect. I'm not, but I don't deserve, and maybe one day, and they didn't deserve it either. So
Right.
we all lost.
Yeah. But the
But
fact that you're acknowledging it and that
yeah,
there needs to be change and even
right.
owning your own stuff,
Yeah.
I mean, that sets a great example
Yeah.
to them.
Because when I get triggered, I want to leave the room. You know what
Mhm.
I mean? I'm like, I need a timeout because I'll
Right.
start saying stuff and I don't want to,
Right.
but I've healed enough now. I'm unbothered sometimes. And like
Mhm.
when I see certain things in my children, like my son or anybody that wants to, because they like to pick at you.
Right.
I am so not on, I'm so like, I understand that's you.
Right.
I'm not gonna take this personally,
Yeah.
because I didn't do anything to hurt you.
Right.
If I said something that didn't mean I'm, you know what I mean? But
Right.
people, you don't know what they're perceiving,
Right.
and look
That's
at the
so hard
world.
though, isn't it? To like look at someone and you're like, I know this is a you thing and I'm trying not to take it personal, but
Yeah,
it's
but and
hard.
again, that goes back to the marriage, like, and the kids. I'm gonna stick up for myself,
Right.
but there's that thing called gray rock. Have you ever
Mhm.
heard of that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I try to go to that gray rock,
Mhm.
like, you know what? You are not going to be in control of me or my emotions.
Right.
I own me, just like I own my own story.
Mhm.
Everyone made up all these stories. I was supposedly, because I'm a woman and we're in the South in Memphis,
Mhm.
and I'm all there are men investors. I was swinging on the chandeliers with everybody. I didn't even realize. I'm like, "Can you pick somebody cute
You're like,
to
I
have an
missed all
affair
that
with?"
fun.
Yeah, but I'm like, "Really? This person? I mean, you
Yeah.
really are," but it is kind of funny that, like, I always explain it like, remember, like, that someone would say, "I caught a fish this big,"
Right.
like, I was that big fish.
Yeah.
Like, how did I become this big fish? Like, I didn't,
Right.
I mean, the stories I would hear about myself, and then there was this mean girl time, and when I was on all these boards that help women and children and trying to promote, and every time I try to promote something or whatever, I just knew how to do it. it wasn't so much me wanting the attention. I was like, let's go get excited. Let's tell
Right.
what this is, everything. But the mean girls didn't want me to have the attention. So they would do all these weird things.
Of
And
course.
so they added to the stories or whatever.
Mhm.
And I look back and I'm like, man, did I go through some stuff. But I think a lot, if we start talking about our stories, you'll realize other people are going through those things as well.
Exactly.
But we're all falling in this line, like this trap,
Mhm.
and I don't want to be in that trap. And you
Well,
know what? Go ahead.
I just think it's because, you feel like you're all alone
Yeah,
and you don't trust people now at
right.
that point, and
Because all you're
it's
doing
a
is lying
vicious
about me.
cycle.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And again, I look at it, I don't want to hate.
Right.
And I always tell people, let it go.
Mhm.
You're not letting go of what they did. In other
Mhm.
words, they did something that
Right.
hurt you. They don't want to acknowledge it. They don't want to, but you know what? If we take our power and we don't have to get a sorry from someone
Right.
or um that's the transition you gotta get into. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Because it when people say, like, the "so what," that could trigger you,
Right.
for a moment, but
Yeah.
again, you have to be, like, in yourself, "So what if you punched me? You know what?" Like
Right.
my mother, what did she say? I picked up my panties and I moved on,
Yeah,
right? Like,
exactly.
she did not allow that,
To steal
and
her joy or her
right.
energy, and yeah.
And we gotta get to that power,
Mhm.
realize, and I started realizing later, and especially about the health. It's you got to get to a balance, like find your yes with mind, body, and soul.
Right.
So how I do things is I actively take channel that energy into creating something. Like you take a broken art
Right.
or broken heart and make it into art.
Right.
So I did a documentary that starring Jack Canfield. It's on Tubi and all that.
Okay.
And with all these medical doctors and everything. And when I start telling the story, or, you know, and even if I cry, it's not that I'm emotionally attached to it, but it's still a sadness
Right.
because we are human. And
Yes.
when I look at, my ex or whatever, that's a little boy that was hurt.
Mhm.
And if we start looking at that in other people, we could try to understand it and
Right.
even ourselves.
It's like, what are they carrying,
Yeah.
for so long?
But we're expecting you to fix it.
Right.
If we're married or whatever,
Right.
like in a marriage, and it's like, I want you to fix because I'm expecting you because that's what marriage is supposed to. You got to fix me.
Right.
No, we got to fix ourselves and
Yes.
then we could and I hate the fact, and I say the word hate, it's strong, but the family lawyers, our core of our problem is family. It's the what's happening to families.
Mhm.
That this is why we have these traumas. We gotta stop that. We gotta heal families. You shouldn't just cut people off, or
Right.
you got to learn how to resolve
Right.
emotionally. I mean, becoming emotionally stable is a job. It is a work in progress. You got to
Mhm.
work at it. It just doesn't
And they have to
come
want
at
it.
you. Right.
That's the big issue.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
we're all walking wounded, or whatever. But if you hold your power and you're not bothered by anyone and all the naysayers and the, whatever, the demons,
Right.
walking around.
Yeah.
Like I was joking the other day, someone said, I'm gonna marry you. I want you to marry, and I'm like, I've retired trying to, tame and slay demons. So, no.
Yeah. But
But
thank you.
yeah,
Yeah.
thank you, I appreciate it. But no, I think it's where I'm at now is you look back and you could look back with sadness and everything, but I choose to move that forward. I don't hate.
Mhm.
Sure, do I wish things were different because it's such a robbing of your time
Right.
and that energy and what it has done because hurt doesn't help anybody. It
Mm-mm.
really doesn't. And but this is why I wrote my workbook because I'm like not only telling my story, set myself free, but I was like, I've been through so much and only always like, and I hate to say this, you men out there, but us women in business, it's just, yes, we have the mean girls, but we have women and men coming at us. And especially in business, I had men try to teach me a harsh lesson. They were
Mm.
going to take over my company. Mm-hmm. Um, c- Claim I was fraud and everything. I'm still standing.
Mhm.
They could take, but I'm still standing. And I think that should be a testament to not only my spirit, but you're not going to break me.
Right.
And no matter what you do, legally, anything challenging, I'll rise like a phoenix.
Mhm.
And I mean,
I
and
love it.
it's, yeah, it's like, and it's not that I am going to go destroy you, but I am not going to let you control me,
Right.
and you could do all that, but I really do believe, whether you call it karma or whatever you want to call it, but it's an energy. Whatever
Mhm.
you put out,
Right.
you are going to receive.
Yep.
Good, bad, and the ugly.
Exactly. Yep.
We can't, none of us can escape that,
Right.
So I choose to live more intentional. I choose to live more authentic. It'll piss people off
Mhm.
because when you're authentic,
Oh
you
yeah.
make people uncomfortable because we don't have to wear our mask. We
Right.
don't have to. I'm me.
Mhm.
I'm not gonna hurt you, but I sure in hell, work. I can get Rocky Balboa on you. You know what I mean? But
Right.
I don't have to.
Yeah.
So, but the truth is always going to come out, and that's the thing. It
Mm.
could take years, but there's always a rhyme and reason. If you could
Mhm.
find the lesson in it,
Right.
you'll come out much better. But like I said, I started working on my workbook because simple steps. You'd read this and it's like, well, I know this.
Yeah.
But it's programming ourselves to go back to the simple basics.
Right.
How do I get back to mind, body, and soul? If I just lost everything from a divorce, if somebody stole my car, if my health, anything,
Right.
how do I get that inspiration for me to
Right.
get back up? What are my goals? What really do I care about?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And just
To just
get back to
remind
those
yourself and
yeah.
trigger. Yeah. No, I love that.
So and then with all this, I chose to channel it because I love film and music and the arts. Take a broken heart, make it into art. Started my own film company, have my own record label, started my own streaming network. And people don't know how I do it, but I do it. And I see a vision
Mhm.
and I want to create a deeper change. And when I say
Right.
deeper change, all the film and music that is part of our mental health, all the music, and people don't realize this. Again, we're not getting cuckoo for coconuts here, but or conspiracy, but think about it.
Mhm.
We're in Memphis, where we're here in Nashville. It happens in Nashville too. I'm Italian too. I gotta, and
I
yeah,
used
I'm
to get
hitting
yelled at. I
yeah.
used to get yelled at for that all the time. That's why we have
Boom,
new
boom.
arms on them.
Yeah. But going back to like this deeper connection to what is happening, being, present, you don't
Mhm.
realize all the messaging, all of this.
Yeah.
It's a subconscious. People don't realize. Yeah, just like a narcissist can come and tell you that's
Mhm.
exactly what's happening. And when we're putting out that music out there and we're saying this is great, but then we're saying we want to reduce crime in Memphis
Mhm.
or anywhere or help these kids, how are we telling them that music that says go shoot everybody up and slap that trick or, I mean, I'm just
Yeah.
saying, you know what I mean? I mean, I'm just being
No, I
honest,
know, I know, 'cause it's
and
that's so
but
real.
when it's always in your face,
Yeah.
and if you're not developed mentally yet
Right.
to handle that, you're not going to understand. So if us adults are saying this is cool to our
Right.
kids, they can't handle that. They
Right.
can't handle the pressures now. And you
Right.
got all this stuff. So I started a nonprofit, MVP3 Foundation. We heal community through the arts. We teach integrity media. We
Okay.
teach, creating a pathway for careers. I have my own streaming network, studios that are about to open up. We start building our own like Netflix, Amazon, original TV series, all of that. And on our music label, going back to old school, new school ways. Now with
Mm.
AI and all this technology, what's going to be human? So we still want human music. We
Right.
still want real stories. I want to tell your story. I want to, just like
Right.
how you have this.
Yeah.
Now let's put it on the screen. But Hollywood did it.
Mhm.
And we're watching all these systems break down, right?
Yeah.
We could do it right in Tennessee and create a whole new Hollywood, but based on integrity.
You're like, "Don't mess with me."
No, and I don't care what everybody else is doing. You know what? I'm
Yeah.
staying in my lane.
Right.
But you know what? We can create a change.
Mhm.
And that's what I feel everything that I've been through, it's a bigger purpose, and people could call me crazy all they want, but I'm crazy loving what I'm doing, and I'm crazy loving
Mhm.
how to help others.
Right.
And if we can make it exciting and turn, not, honor people that are like of integrity, what we
Mhm.
should be, not pushing the crazy making. Because
Yes.
I really do have a problem with, I mean, I'm all about women empowerment. We all grew up with Madonna, everything else,
Mhm.
but I really have a problem with sliding down poles, sexing up, all of that.
Yeah.
It is very dangerous for us women, and especially with all this trafficking and everything.
Yeah.
We think it's cool, but that's not empowerment.
Right.
And I joke about this, but I don't think it's empowerment either. And people could get mad at me, but it's my opinion.
Right.
I don't believe wearing a vagina hat on my head and screaming nasty girl is empowerment. you
I
know,
was totally
I
trying to
just,
keep a
I
straight face there
know.
from this. I couldn't
But
help
do you see what I'm
it.
saying?
Yeah.
I think
Totally.
we could be empowered, and there's nothing wrong with breast and all
And
this, but
set good
why do I got
examples
to
and
see
yeah,
it?
right.
Why do I got to see everybody's thing?
Right.
Or, like,
Right.
where did all that come from? Where is the empowerment, the values, principles, morals? Where is
Mhm.
that? And that's, we went off the
Sure did.
what derailed.
Mhm.
So why don't we just go back to
Bring it
some of the
back.
basics, real
Mhm.
simple, mind, body, and soul, get
Yeah.
that balance, and then I think we can start creating the change.
I love it.
Now, find your yes. My yes might not be your yes, but we could find it.
Yes. Gosh. So did you put out your workbook first? Is that
No, I have the From Barefoot to Stilettos. It's not for sissies. Is on Amazon and some bookstores, and then I
okay?
made a second one, a sequel, From Barefoot to Stilettos, Finding My Yes. I'm in the process now of Free to Be Me.
Okay.
But in the meantime, I did the workbook, and then we did the documentary on the health part to it.
Okay.
So, again,
And where's that at again? You said two oh,
Amazon,
okay.
you can find it on Amazon. Go to frombarefoottostilettos.com.
Okay.
And in the mix of all of this, I had some pretty cool people. Ron Friends, who was known for Spider-Man, Marvel Comics, DC,
Okay.
Keith Williams, Bill Halliard, Dave Ashcroft Ulansky. They created Stiletto, the powerhouse baroness. She's a superhero. She kicks
Stop.
down walls with her titanium stilettos, and um, Morgan Freeman's son, Alfonso,
How cool is that?
yeah, he, did the trailer to her. We did have her out as a comic strip. We're gonna relaunch her. Lots of times we were going to do, like, the TV series to my life story, but we have this action hero now, and she's, gotta battle the zombies too that are trying to suck our brains, and,
Yeah,
like, I
yeah.
mean, it's so wild that we wrote this that is so relevant for today.
Right.
But she is your modern day superhero, little Latin, little feisty, and, she fights good and evil just like all of us. We have,
Right.
devil on this
Sure.
side, angel on the which one are we gonna listen to?
Right.
But she leashes out this power and drives a Harley, Ford truck, so she's not an invisible plane, but she's a
Yeah.
real,
Wow, what an
badass.
honor, right?
Yeah, I thought that was, like, pretty cool.
So cool.
And so I'm taking that brand and I co-branded with other women owners. Like Dinsel's is a candy store in the from the 1920s, or family chain. They make these chocolate stilettos, so it's From Barefoot to Stiletto Chocolates by Dinsel's. And then My Cup of Tea, they make tea, ship it all over, and it's in Orange Mound African American community, and they help the women create jobs, and they make these teas. And so it's From Barefoot to Stilettos tea, and it's called Tea for Tough because Morgan Freeman called my tea for tough. And so
Oh,
things like that, and to help others,
yeah,
using products to help other people build the brand, and
right,
while building movies and doing the other, because it's like a trifecta: film, music, community,
right,
while sharing my story to also empower others that you can do whatever it is. Again, your yes, it
right,
doesn't matter.
right.
Like, I just happen to love film and TV and
Mhm.
music. You might like something else and find your yes and learn how to brand that.
Right.
And, there's so many creative ways we can do now, and especially come together. That's why,
Mhm.
you got sticks, I got a match, together we make a fire.
Right.
And nowadays, we're going to have to figure out how to come together.
For sure.
So that's what I'm hoping, we
Sometimes
all
it's
do.
sad though, it's really hard to find
I know.
people with the same passions
Yeah, and that
and
are honest,
yeah,
that are of yeah,
honest, yeah.
yeah, and that are aligned with you. But
Right.
again, all we can do is show up who we are.
Right.
If you're gonna be evil or be lie, steal, and cheat, that is on you.
Right.
But I'm gonna show up every day as
You're like, that's
me.
a you problem.
Right.
Yeah.
And if again, I've done it several times. I built studios in Memphis, got hoodwinked. The investor never came with the money. Some people in the city didn't help me, but you know what? I knew it was possible, and I just,
Kept going.
lost everything. Cars repossessed, everything, not once, twice. I did it. I ended up getting married again and didn't realize what deceiving, and watching an ex, and wife and get involved, I mean, a chaos
Mm,
that taught me. That's why I went and spearheaded a bill called HB 2588 that now mandates parents who are divorcing must be educated on ACEs. After watching all that, doing something about it. So people might be like, "Oh my god, you're doing this, 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 and this," but it all goes
it's all together.
intertwined. Yeah,
Yes.
and
Yes.
I'm channeling. I might not make a record, I
Right.
might not, but I'm producing movies, I'm telling people stories. I'm doing things that are channeling this energy to create a change. If
Right.
I could do that, So can you.
Mhm.
It's really not that
But you
difficult.
notice how, like, people usually, like, if it's jealousy or
Oh,
haters,
yeah.
it's usually never somebody doing more than what you're doing, that's
Yeah.
criticizing you or saying stuff, or if they are, they don't want you to be competition.
No.
That's the
And
other
that
thing too.
when I first came out like 20 years ago, I was met with somebody in the city. When I came out with my film production, what I'm doing, you would think I would have been embraced.
Right.
Who the hell are you? We've been doing this for 20 years. So technically, we're now 40 years. If that was 20 years ago.
Mhm.
What has anybody done? I'm the one doing this, and
Right.
I am succeeding. I have films that won awards. Geraldo said we were a history-changing documentary.
Right.
Things that are like that. I was the first in Memphis as a producer to go red at the red carpet premiere. And, for that to happen in Memphis, and now
Right.
have a streaming network that is gonna give you distribution and a way. I am they bash me, actually, the ones in the film, bash me on Facebook. They did me a favor. All the haters, you know what they do? They do you a favor.
That's what I always say. I'm like,
Yeah,
"Go ahead, algorithm, go ahead,
right.
whatever." Yeah.
But here's the thing, they show their true colors. Then
Mm.
I finally get to say, Governor or whatever, look what's happening here. Let me show you why Memphis has not grown, right? In what
Right.
I'm doing. This is not fair, but you know what? If I'm that powerful, this goes for anybody. If I'm that powerful that you have to go get all your friends and
Yep.
an army, I must be doing
You
something.
are definitely doing something right.
You know? And
Yeah.
if you're trying to steal from me and take my film and claim
Mhm.
I'm fraud and all these things, desperate things so much to tear me down.
All that energy.
I
It's
mean, it takes a
crazy.
lot of energy to fight that.
It does. It does. It's really hard to stay. They always say, like, stay tunnel vision, right,
Right.
when you have all this noise around you, but it's
Yeah.
hard. It's
We're
hard.
talking divorce,
Yeah.
people trying to take everything. I mean,
Right.
that is a night. I don't even know how I
Right.
survived. All I can say, and people might whatever you believe, it is the grace of God.
Mhm.
It's a higher source, it's a higher power. It is
Right.
something that I don't can't even explain.
Right.
But it pulls you out of that what I call that dark night of the soul.
Mhm.
And you can go do it.
I'm gonna
You
always
can
remember
do
that
it.
now. I never heard of that
Yeah,
before, but
look
now
it up.
yeah.
It's a real
Dark
thing.
Night of the
Yeah,
Soul.
Dark Night of the Soul. We all go it's something, that challenges that gets you out of that. And really, you have to determine what are you going to do,
Right.
And this energy that everyone's bouncing out there, you have to navigate through that.
Yeah.
That's why this workbook, 12 steps to finding your yes. Take those steps,
Right. Right.
to get back up, and you can
Right.
do it.
Because for a lot of people, that noise will destroy you or make you quit or just
Yes.
feel,
Again,
like you're
it's that
incompetent.
frequency, that's
Mhm.
that energy, and
Right.
you gotta build that mind, body, and soul to be that superpower.
Yes.
Stiletto, the powerhouse
Yes.
baronet, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Coming out, and whether male, female,
How did you end up
whatever.
coming up with that?
Because of the stiletto thing,
Just like
you know what? I don't even know. I'll get up at 3 o'clock in the morning, an idea will hit me, and then it's like, "Let's go for it. This sounds cool. Let's figure it out,"
yeah.
but you know, when we did From Barefoot to Stiletto, or I did, and then we took, well, the superhero, she's got to have stilettos. Well, Stiletto, the powerhouse baroness, and a baroness is single woman, like a
Yeah.
powerhouse,
Right.
and I'm like, there we go,
See, we
roll
need
with
most
it.
women to feel like that.
Yeah, so I don't know.
You're in a tough business too. I can't even
It
imagine. Like,
Everyone's
yeah.
scraping to
Yeah.
get at, and then, like, again, all these, and tell some students, and I wanna really reiterate this to everybody, that who gives a shit about likes and followers?
Right.
I mean, honestly, if you're not liking yourself, that doesn't mean any. I
Right.
don't even have. I have I got 15,000 on something, one other,
Right.
another, and it's like, really, nobody. If you, literally, if people are not focusing, but if you watch, like some of the people, like you're not going to please everybody,
Right.
but I'm not too sure I want that kind of thing yet,
Right. Right.
or because I want to harness what I'm doing first.
Mhm.
I'm not here to claw to the top and say, look at me, even though
Right.
I'm in media and I know how to. I want press conferences, I want to go out there. And when they came back to me and said, I said to them, what is it that you hate about me? What is it that I did not do for you? Or what is it? Why do you always have to have press conferences? Um, what am I supposed to do? Hide under a rock? We're in media. Duh.
Right.
Like I don't mean to, but like
Yeah.
literally you're supposed to, and what is everybody doing on Facebook? You're promoting yourself
Yes.
constantly.
Yes.
Why are you so mad that I'm getting attention? Again, that is that low vibe energy.
Mhm.
You don't feel that you're enough. That is not on me. And you know
Right.
what? I've decided I am not going to I'm not going to let you dim my light.
Right.
I'm going to go shine.
Right.
Because you know what? It might make you feel uncomfortable.
See that I
And I
have
don't mean it as a
yeah,
cocky thing, but I'm saying like,
kind of factual. Like,
yeah,
yeah.
I am not going to allow your hatred.
Right.
I'm excited about what I'm doing.
Mhm.
And you know what? Maybe that'll rub off on you. Because
Hopefully,
think about
right?
this. If
Yeah.
everyone else got their shit together, we would
Mhm.
all be fine.
Right. Right.
So selfishly, I want you to get your shit together.
See, I have a hard time. We do have a hard time with that because we're the type of people that um we're like, "Oh god, what's so and so doing? Oh my god, hell yeah. She's kicking ass. He's kicking ass. Like, let's
Yeah.
find out what they're doing. Like, let's, network, whatever."
Yeah.
Where there's just so many haters and I have a hard time with that because
Yeah.
we want to see people win. And we want our friends to win and we don't surround ourselves with people like that anymore. But
Because we're
you
so
used to.
bombarded
Yeah.
right now with all this negativity and
Yes.
that we're supposed to be tearing each other up.
Right.
And
And it's the
what is
complete
weird too,
opposite.
people, have you ever come across people that are like, the only way I guess it's explained, destiny swappers. Like they want your life. That's
Yes.
almost
It
dangerous.
is.
They want your life, or they'll take your ideas and they're going to follow every step that you're doing. Well, you
We know that
watch
all too
them.
well, don't we?
Yeah, I mean, you watch it happen, but it's like,
Mhm.
you know what? You know what you got to think? It's like literally what is meant for me. I'm going to stick. You could try and block me and derail me,
Right.
but if I keep focused, it's going to happen for me.
Right.
But you're going to steal that. You're going to go do it. But you know
Mhm.
what it's going to miss? That heart, that
Yeah.
energy. And
Right.
you can make $1,000, but you know what? At some point, it gets
Yep.
taken back. People don't realize, if just look at history, look at
Mhm.
what happened to people when they
Right.
do bad things. But, they like, why do all these people at the top,
People can be malicious.
they are and they want to be gods. And I
Yeah.
don't want to play that game.
No.
That's
But they
not my
definitely don't
thing.
want to work for it and put in the work like you do. And
Right.
that's why sadly you have to be so careful of who you even surround yourself
Right.
with because people can just be nasty.
Right. And
But then you want to still see the good in people and
yep,
believe that, but it gets rough.
it
It
does.
gets rough.
But I think when you finally get to this place where you're comfortable and you're unbothered,
Mhm.
if you really want to spend that energy wanting to be like me, and if you really want to come steal what I got, you better watch
Work
it.
hard.
From barefoot to something. This ain't my
Yeah.
first rodeo.
Right.
And remember that in that Mommy Dearest, don't mess with me, boy. Yeah.
Yes.
This
Yes.
ain't my first
No,
rodeo.
and no more wire hangers.
No, and being a mom comes first. You know, people ask me all the time, are you ever going to date? I took a time out, and I wanted to find me.
Yeah.
And I like me.
Mm-hmm.
And if you could go in the mirror and literally, not narcissistically or corny,
Right.
when do we ever tell ourselves that we love
Right. Like,
ourselves?
right.
I love you.
Yeah.
I like these things about me. And I'm cool with that.
Right.
And it's like when you start doing that, it's a game changer.
Yep.
Huge game changer. And then you're not even bothered by this,
So
Yeah,
you
if I'm
are
on the
dating?
road
You
and
are dating or you're not, so everyone
no.
knows? No, not right now.
No, but I am not going to waste my time. I don't mean this in a bad way, but
Mm-hmm.
when you become healed, you almost come lonely.
Right.
But I'm okay with lonely sometimes because I got so much work and I'm loving what
Right.
I
And
do. And I got my
focused.
kid, I got,
Yeah.
but I know it sounds really weird, but I have learned how to turn this into spiritual. It's something, and like, you know, we could go into religion, but like I even argued with some pastors, and there was a pastor that I met one time with his wife and his team, and I wanted to do this thing to heal ACEs, bring a community event. And before we started the meeting, yeah, they had the prayer, whatever, but they
Right.
said, no judgment, but if you were to die today and God asked you why he should, you're at the pearly gates of heaven or whatever, why should he let you in? My first action or thought was, well, he's the all knowing. Wouldn't he already know? Wrong answer. Boom, 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 Jesus, and I'm like, ooh, I grew up Catholic. I grew up,
Right.
and I'm like, I argued with the pastor and I said, you know what? Forgive me, but it ain't between me, you, and God. It's between me and God.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? I feel that if there is this heaven, I'm going to go
Right.
because I know I'm a good person.
Right.
And if this is true that he died for our sins, whatever, then I'm okay.
Right.
But I'm choosing every day. We all sin or we all mess up and we
Mm-hmm.
all, but what is this? What
Right.
is this? Do I believe there's a guy in the sky?
Right.
I I believe in something. I believe there is a God. There
Mm-hmm.
is something, and
A
that's
higher
what I
power. Yeah.
choose.
Mm-hmm.
But digging into that, I'm not out there throwing Bible verses or whatever
Right.
because that's just not my gig,
Mm-hmm.
but I do know with what I'm doing, I'm intentional what I'm doing
Yes.
in life, and I'm not going to harm you or hate you for what you do. I went to every church to do my documentary, Finding Your Yes with Mind, Body, and Soul. I grew up Catholic. I got to learn other religions, what all this is. And you know what? That helps better me understand the world.
Right.
So, what is wrong with understanding, what this all is? We're only here for a blip.
There's nothing
So,
wrong with it at all. People just like to judge and
yeah,
put judgment out there.
right. But
Yeah.
even if I judge you, what is that saying about that? I challenge myself because I will judge
Mm-hmm.
or I'll get mad at,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm like, well, wait a minute. Why am I being triggered by this?
Right.
Why am I being hateful or
Right.
whatever? What do I got to work on?
Something within
Yeah,
you.
what
Yeah.
am I
Yeah.
jealous? If I'm jealous, I don't really understand jealous because
Right. Same.
I don't get that like that. But if I
Yeah.
get mad at you for taking something or, and
Yeah.
I'm like, well, wait a minute. What are they taking?
Right.
If it's meant for me, it'll be okay.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to train yourself to
Right.
do that. That's the magic, I
Well, and
think.
that's the tools that a lot of people don't have. And I'm sure like in your
It's
workbook, you have a
literal
lot of that.
simple.
Yeah.
Yeah. And again, you have to be able to do it. Being emotionally stable. And
Yeah.
believe me, I'm Southside Chicago still. I will go off the rail in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Mama's going to knock you out,
Right.
Or I think about that, Tyler Perry Medea.
Yeah.
There's a
I
scene
love
in this one
Medea.
movie, The Diary of a Black Mad Woman
Mad.
or some,
Yeah.
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 And there's a scene where she goes, "Call the po you ho," or something like. I like that's the
Like,
my,
go
but
ahead.
yeah, that's
Yes.
like,
Yes.
call the police because I'm gonna need to get out of jail, at
Yeah.
some point. But
Right.
no, it's like you're human still.
Yeah.
But you can catch yourself.
But you recognize it too.
Yeah,
That's
it's
huge.
about being present
Yes.
and not getting hokey pokey and everything, but
Mm-hmm.
there's all the masters of, empowerment and everything. There's all these tools. The Bible's a tool. This is a tool. It's just how you use
Right.
it. But what if, like, there's one pastor said, if you got a bad soul, you're going to do bad things. If you're going to have a good soul, you're going to do good things. So what are we going to choose?
Plain and simple.
Yeah, you know, I just don't feel like being a demon around the earth right now. I just feel
Not
like,
right
yeah,
now.
not right now. I just feel like, living life
Yeah.
and being in peace.
Right.
Peace is priceless. And if a guy, I know I detoured away from the question, but if it's a healed man,
Yeah.
someone that could, I don't mind, lead, but to me it's like lead, follow, or get the hell out of my way.
Right.
But I probably will never follow. I will join you.
Right.
That's
Right.
what I want.
A real partner.
Yeah, because I don't know what this system, we're going back from centuries like caveman, I'm gonna club you on your head, drag the woman back to the fort, or, trophy wife, or
Right.
the I am all man and I'm gonna tell you what to do with your body, with everything. And, and literally 50 years ago, we just
Yeah.
got women are able to have a bank account or like get a
Right.
loan and
Right.
everything. What?
Yeah.
We have been like, what men don't understand, we've been slaves. You've treated us like slaves.
And it's still happening so much in
Yeah,
these abusive relationships.
the
It's
women I just showed you that
yeah.
I'm trying to
Yeah.
help. How do we get we got manipulated somehow to think, and then when we get divorced, we don't have money.
Right.
We don't have any access to resources, anything. We got kids. You take our kids, you might as well put us in the nut house. But that's the
Right.
point. They do that.
Right. It
And they
is.
know family lawyers know that's on both sides.
Who has more money
Right.
at that point? Who's
But
going to
look at all
pay?
these fathers and mothers and parental alienation. That is sick. If we
Mm-hmm.
want to heal something, go straight to the family court system, those lawyers.
Yeah.
That's where the problem is.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right there. And because we got to heal they say the clients are crazy. You are adding the fuel to that
Right.
fire 100 times, and you are damaging them financially, emotionally. That's domestic
Right.
violence.
Right.
They just have a legal way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy.
Wow. Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. So we're dealing with a lot. I know we talked
Mm-hmm.
about a lot today,
Yeah.
but it's just looking at the truth. I think deciding what we want to do, it's a lot, but you just take it step by step,
By step. Mm-hmm. Right.
And if you got that door opening, go. Or if you
Go.
want to
Right.
kick that shit down, do it.
Right. And don't listen to all the noise. That's
No.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't listen to, I call it no more stinking thinking. Seriously.
Some of these things she comes up
Yeah.
with cracks me up. But I'm
No.
probably going to use those again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just, it's
Well, look
life.
at you now, though.
Huh?
Look at you now.
Yeah, I just, and it's still like I will fall into sometimes, like if someone says something, like I got to remind them, nope, these are my boundaries.
Right. It's hard not to get sucked into that.
Right, but you know
Yeah.
what? But it comes back real quick. So again, someone could think they're manipulating me. I'm this. This is me, but I will rock your world
Mm-hmm.
and to kingdom come if
Yeah.
but it's just knowing your power, that's all.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really a lover, not a fighter, but I'll fight your ass.
That's a
I
good
will, I
balance.
will.
That's a
But
good
that's
balance.
yeah, but
Yeah.
that's a, you know,
Yeah.
but if we could all come to a balance, again, like what
Mm,
we said in the beginning, your yes is not my yes,
right.
but go find your yes because it's there.
Right.
Don't give up.
Yeah.
And again, it is a journey. We're all on these different levels. So
Yep.
literally, maybe where if somebody I met, I'm looking at her or him, like, oh my goodness, but how can I judge it? I was there.
Right.
Now I came out on the other side.
Right.
And what is the beauty of that? Let's help others,
Yep. Empower other people. Help
because
them.
we're always going to be growing.
Right.
Because I'm going to, 5 years from now, I'm going to be a whole different Marie.
Right.
I don't know what that Marie's going to look at. This Marie is pretty cool right now, but
You're like,
I'm
I'll
going to
keep her for a minute.
I'm going to see what that Marie is. And
Yeah.
then 10 years from now, and,
I love it. I love what
so,
you've done.
well, thank you.
You've really turned it around
Yeah.
and just made it so
But it's not,
positive.
it was not easy. I'm
Oh,
not
hell
going
no.
sugarcoat,
Yeah.
not easy.
Anything good
No.
takes a lot of work.
Yeah. But it is that hardcore choice. And I feel I don't know how to help people that have sunk into that abyss,
Hmm.
like, how do you help
I
them
know.
get
That's the
out of that?
problem.
And you can't help people unless they want to help
Right. So
themselves.
then you're like, help me help you.
Right.
And sometimes it just can't be done. It's not done until they're ready,
Right. And
which
that's
can
the
be
thing.
frustrating,
And
you
it could
know?
be it's scary, like, even for your
Yeah.
own kids or whatever, you
Yeah.
gotta watch them grow, and you gotta realize, if I don't allow them to go through it,
Right.
they're not gonna know
Yeah.
how, right?
Right.
And I think that's our problem too now, that we've
Hmm.
fixed so many things
Right.
that they don't know. We didn't give you can't throw them out to the wolves, to the jungle,
Right.
without giving them the right tools.
Right.
So,
Back to the old little bit of
yeah,
tough love,
a little
which
bit.
isn't easy.
No.
You want to
No.
save them.
Yeah.
That's my problem. I want to save everybody. And I've been learning the hard way
You
over and over.
can't.
I'm 49 now and I'm still like, all
Yeah.
right, I'm still learning.
Well, I'm
Yeah.
55 and I'm just,
Yeah.
yeah. So it's all these different stages.
Well, I'm proud of
Hell,
you. It's pretty amazing.
it's not for sissies.
That's
So that's all
right.
I could say. Yep.
Yeah. Well, thanks for
Thank
coming.
you for having me.
Is there
Thank
anything
you.
else you want? Any last words you want to say?
No, just go find your yes,
Yes.
you can do it.
Mm-hmm.
I believe it, you know.
You've done it.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I mean, if my story can help you,
Right.
you know,
Right. And we'll put all your information too in the description. McKenna will make sure all that's on
thank
there.
you. All
Thanks.
right.
Thanks for coming
Thank
here to
you.
Nashville.